The first time I heard the knocking, I didn't think ghost or curse or anything supernatural at all. I thought old building, because my new apartment had the personality of something that had survived too much and resented every new person who moved in. The pipes clicked like fingers snapping in the dark. The walls popped inside when the temperature changed, and the neighbors upstairs walked with the heavy, dragging steps of people who never fully unpacked their lives. So, at 2:17 a.m., when 3 slow, deliberate knocks came from inside the wall, behind my bed, I groaned, rolled over, and pressed my ear to the paint, whispering, "Seriously?" Like I was scolding bad plumbing, and the wall knocked back 3 times again, perfectly spaced, perfectly pashantas, if it had heard me and was answering. And that was the moment I should have gotten up, turned on every light, and left. But exhaustion has a way of convincing you that impossible things are just inconveniences you can deal with later. So I slept. And the next morning I found a folded note slid under my door in handwriting, so neat it looked printed. "Do not answer the knocking. Cover the vent. If you smell oranges, leave the room. If the hallway light blinks twice, do not look through the peephole." I laughed, because laughter is what your brain does when it doesn't know where to put fear. But the laugh died quickly, because nobody writes rules that specific as a joke, and nobody leaves warnings without learning them the hard way. All day the note burned a hole in my pocket, and that night when the knocking returned it, wasn't just the wallet, was the ceiling then my door, like something was testing distances, learning the layout and right on cue. The hallway light blinked twice. Not once, not randomly, but twice, like a signal, and a sweet citrus smell crept under the door, sharp and wrong like oranges left too long in the sun. So I remembered the note and shoved a towel over the bedroom vent with shaking hands, and as soon as I did the smell faded, replaced by silence so thick it felt intentional, and then a woman's voice spoke from the hallway, calm, friendly, almost bored, saying, "It's okay, I can help you, just open the door," and my body leaned toward it before my mind could argue, because the voice sounded normal, human, like a neighbor who'd noticed my light was on too late, and I might have opened the door if she hadn't added softly, "Almost kindly, you don't want to be alone when it learns your name." Because I had never told anyone in that building my name, not the neighbors, not the manager, nobody, and fear finally punched through exhaustion. So instead of stepping into the hallway, I climbed out the fire escape and ran into the night without looking back, convinced that if I did, I'd see something that would make me stop running forever. The next day I told myself I'd imagined it. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. And when I searched my building online, I found old complaints about renovations, unpermitted work, strange smells, noise traveling through walls, and one forgotten article about a small fire years ago during construction where tenants reported hearing knocking and voices in the smoke, voices calling their names. And 2 people went missing for days before reappearing with no memory of where they'd been. And buried in the comments were warnings that sounded uncomfortably familiar. Don't answer. Don't look. Don't follow the voice. And when I went back in daylight to pack my things, pretending sunlight made me safe, the hallway light flickered again, and the towel I'd stuffed over the vent was gone, neatly replaced as if it had never been touched. And something cold crawled up my spine, because it meant someone or something had been inside my apartment while I was gone. Primera pas steadfast, hands shaking, when the knocking started again, this time from inside my closet. 3 slow taps followed by a soft sigh, like relief. And then the same woman's voice whispered my apartment number perfectly, lovingly, like she'd practiced it. And that was the first real twist. The moment I understood this wasn't a random haunting or a mindless spirit, it was a system. A pattern built on rules. Because only systems need rules, and only systems reward obedience. I ran again, filed reports, brought friends, recorded everything, and started talking to former tenants who admitted the truth in fragments that years ago. Renovations had opened a long hidden cavity between units, a hollow space that carried sound unnaturally, and people started using it to scare each other, knocking and whispering until fear became entertainment, until someone realized fear was useful because a scared tenant is quiet, isolated, easy to control, and the legend grew. Passed along as superstition so nobody would report what was really happening, because who do you believe when they say the wall speaks and smells like oranges? And the building manager's calm smile finally made sense when I noticed his knuckles raw and red, like he'd spent years tapping walls, maintaining the myth, enforcing the rules. And the final message I ever received from that place proved to the last twist that it didn't even matter whether the horror was supernatural or human. Because the danger was the same when my phone buzzed with a photo of my apartment door taken from the hallway, the light above it blinking twice, and beneath it the words "Come home," not as a threat, but an invitation, as if fear itself wanted me back, wanted my attention, wanted permission. And I moved shortly after, changed my number, and learned the real lesson this place taught me. The scariest horror doesn't scream or chase or reveal itself in shadows. It waits politely, speaks kindly, follows rules you didn't agree to, and convinces you that you're alone and overreacting until you open the door yourself. And if this story kept you watching, if it made you rethink every strange sound you've ever ignored, make sure you hit like, subscribe for more twisted horror stories that don't let go. And comment what you would have done when the hallway light blinked twice. Because the next story begins with a knock that sounds exactly like someone you trust.